everyone, and welcome. Rob Edwards here for another episode of Talking About Rock, sponsored by School of Rock, North Buffalo. Earlier this month, Steve Grimmett, the frontman for the British heavy metal band Grim Reaper, passed away. At 62, he was known for his piercing head vocals and was part of the new wave of British metal in the 80s. They released See You in Hell in 83 and went on to release 3 additional albums. But before that, the band would disband. They did reunite in 2006 to finally release Walking in the Shadows and went on to tour and play festivals. In 2017, Steve was hospitalized during a show in Ecuador for an infection in his leg that led to partial amputation. In 2019, they released At the Gates. And in 2022 interview, Steve advised the band was working on new material before his passing. Today we have with us Scott Heidt, who had Steve feature on his track, Salem Witches, before his passing for his band. Please welcome to the show, Scott Heidt. Scott, how are you doing today?
Good, I'm doing real good. How are you?
Good, man, good. So tell us to begin with here, how did you first hear of Steve's passing? It was a shock to a lot of people, I know.
Yeah, I pretty much woke up on that Monday and I went and checked my Facebook, and the first thing I saw was it was like this black and white photo of Steve, which I was using for the promotion and the booklet and everything for my record. So
wow, well, can you turn your mic up a little bit? It's a little quiet.
Okay, how do I do that?
Or if you want to get a little closer to the mic.
Okay, I'll try and speak louder.
Okay.
So basically, I saw it on Facebook first. I saw the photo, and then I saw Rest in Peace above that. So I was totally shocked. I had just spoken to him on August 4th, so through a video chat. So it was a major shock to me. That hit me pretty hard. So that's how I found out about it. I started researching it just to make sure once I saw that. And then I started getting texts from people saying, did you see this? And so.
Did you get a chance to reach out to his family and such?
Yeah, I emailed Millie or texted her, and then told her my condolences and everything. But I didn't want to, talk too much. Everything was new. I wanted to give her space and everything.
Yeah, definitely. It was a shock to a lot of people hearing that all of a sudden, I'm sure. Yeah, they want their privacy at this time. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So give us a brief history of your ups and downs. You've been through a lot as well in your history, getting your band going.
Yeah, I have an identical twin brother, and he plays guitar. So we grew up playing music since like 6th grade in school. And our last year, we grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And our last years of high school, we moved to Western New York, close to Niagara Falls. And we had a friend that we grew up with in Pittsburgh that he relocated to California with his family when we moved to Western New York. So we had a plan to move to California, my brother and I, after high school, to start a band.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people's plan to do that when stuff was really hot out there, right?
Yeah, we were the tail end of like the late 80s, 88. So we missed the first wave of all that.
Right.
But, that's what we did. When we moved out there, we lived with him and his family, and immediately my brother, I think he was already taking lessons from Doug Aldridge. So my brother started taking guitar lessons from him, and then he took vocal lessons from a teacher.
Yeah, Doug's a phenomenal guitarist. We just spoke to him last week on the show for the Dead Daisies dates coming up. Yeah, he's excellent. Saw that.
So that was really cool. That was during the Lion, their first record, and he invited us down for the studio for the second album, Dangerous Attraction. And my brother and I actually did a live performance with him in the music store with it was sort of like a family type night where the students, their family would come and they would perform.
Just do a jam session or something,
yeah.
right?
But we did, it was Doug, myself, a bass player, and my brother sang and did rhythm guitar. So we did She by Kiss. And then we did another song. I forget what the other song was, but it was really, really cool. I wish I had it on video, but video cassettes were fairly new at that time. You could rent them, but it was sort of like a 2-unit thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody usually had a camcorder back those days, big bulky type of thing. Now everyone's got a cell phone and you can record whatever, wherever you are. But yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. We learned a lot, had really good experiences. And we sort of were trying to find other members, which was sort of hard. We were about 40 minutes from Hollywood, so we weren't right down in the center of Hollywood. And we had day jobs, so it wasn't like we were starving musicians trying to make it like that.
Right.
We didn't really go that route. So we basically went through different members. The guy we moved with, that sort of didn't work out. And we ended up hooking up with another guitar player, and we had a lot of songs for like over a year, and we were looking for a singer. And eventually we had a band, but we still didn't have a singer. And then it just disbanded. So we were always at that point, and it would just disband. So
right.
we, my brother was at a gym once, and he got approached by a female singer. He was wearing a Jackson Guitar shirt. So she had a producer, and they were doing like a showcase down in Beverly Hills for like 5 record companies. So my brother was like, hey, I have a twin brother that plays drums. So we formed right away. We were like, and this was like in 90, 92, 93. We formed right away. We were in rehearsals down in the Valley. And we did a showcase where in Beverly Hills at, I think, the Bel Air Hotel, I believe it was. I think it was. And supposedly Bon Jovi and Prince did their showcases inside the ballroom there. So there was 5 different style bands. There was 5 record labels that came, and there was like Sony, Interscope, RCA. I forget the other 2, but they were MCA. They were really big. So supposedly Sony offered like a $7 million deal. 2 labels were interested in the whole package, but they wanted us to invest money, and we were like, well, if this is the real deal, then we shouldn't have to invest. So we told the singer, let's just start playing out Hollywood. We have all the songs, everything's done. If this is real, then it'll move forward.
Yeah, was it pay to play out there at that time for the clubs?
You had to sell tickets and all that. So so she didn't really want to do that. She listened to whatever the producer said. So my brother and I really had no choice. We just walked, because nothing ever happened after that, and nothing ever happened with that whole situation. So, but it was really exciting. I mean, it was, we were very young then, so it was like we were ready to go. We were like, they were talking about booking Vegas and playing shows there. So it was really another good experience, you know, as far as learning and all that. So
yeah, I know, like right around the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, that was a really tough time for hard rock and metal to sell, definitely.
Yeah, the Strip was sort of winding down. There was still bands. You still had like, you know, Firehouse was new, signed, and there was still other bands. And there was this group, Asphalt Ballet. They did a showcase and got signed with this other band, Juliet. So there was still bands being signed, but it definitely was not how it used to be, you know, in the heyday. So after that, my brother and I sort of, we were trying to get into, like, instead of working a day job, maybe do like modeling or print work like that. But we learned really quick that that's pretty much the same type of situation we're trying to get in musically. So, you know, we ended that really quick. But I did go on, there was a time we sort of did our own thing where I went on auditions. I auditioned for this, one of the members, I believe it was from Law's Rocket. And he had this a Japanese deal in Japan, and I think the band name was called Gawk, and I did that audition. It was like one of those things that just didn't work out. I drove like to the valley. Halfway there, I realized I didn't have my cymbals, had to turn around.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
totally hectic. So
Yeah.
I auditioned for a group called Joshua, which was an 80s metal band, basically from LA, but they were big worldwide. But they had some videos on MTV, but I'd never heard of them. So my brother and I went down there and to his house, and we saw like all the gold records, and we're like, okay, this is a pretty big deal. So I did 2 auditions. I was like one of the last 2 audition, but that sort of didn't work out, just for sort of stupid reasons. But I stayed friends with Josh, and we would hang out. So when it came time for Mark and I, my brother, to do our own thing, we were just like, we're going to do everything ourselves. We're going to, it's so hard in LA to find the people. And that's the main thing. You have to find the right people and people that you can gel with.
Yeah, I think that's super difficult anywhere.
Yeah.
To find those right people in the same mind frame, with some of the same influences, and just kind of with it together, then they're not going to flake on you, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was our main problem, really. We had all the songs, so we decided we were going to do everything and finance it ourselves. So we were in rehearsals down in the valley. We knew a guy that made tour cases, and he was in this it was like a industrial area businesses, and there was this company there that they had like 3 rehearsal spaces, but it really wasn't open to the public at all. But the guy that we knew that made tour cases had his business in there, so he was like, hey, I can get you guys in here to rehearse. So we're like, great. It was really cheap. We could leave our stuff there. They had lockers, so if we couldn't leave it set up, we could just leave it in the locker, then set it when we came. So that's where Dio was rehearsing. So in '95, during Angry Machines, that record, they were in there rehearsing. So the one night, they would usually be rehearsing during the day, and we would be working. We would come a little later after work. So
Right, you probably see each other in passing, maybe, or something.
yeah, we would see him passing, like him and Vinny in the car. And then, but the one time Ronnie was there, he had stayed later. And so we met him for the first time, and he came into our room. He really liked my drum kit. I had like a really big Tama kit. I still have, it's what I use. And he loved all the hardware and stands. He was telling Vinny about it. And so we talked to him. He talked to us for like 45 minutes that night in our room, just my brother and I, and then one other person. And when we would rehearse, we would video all the rehearsals on a tripod just to look back on and whatnot.
Always a good idea, yeah.
So when Ronnie came in, my camcorder had a remote on it, and I was always the one that would hit it, like, okay, you ready? So when he came in, I went around my kit and I hit record. So I have the whole conversation, like 45 minutes with him talking to my brother and I. And near the end, he noticed like the blinking light, like going off, and he sort of moved to the side. He never said anything,
Right.
But it was totally cool. So I used to talk to Tracy G all the time, even outside of there, and we would hang out. Vinny, I only saw him passing. I think my brother saw him once, and then Jeff Pilson was in the group at that time.
Oh, excellent, yeah. Everything I've heard and read, Ronnie was just always so gracious to everyone. He was just a nice, humble guy. Obviously, an iconic voice, that never be replicated, but just a really gracious and really endearing to everybody that he spoke with, from everyone I talked to and everything I read.
Yeah, he was incredible. I mean, that night we took pictures, and then when we saw him again, we would bring some stuff for him to sign. So I have a lot of signed stuff. And the facility that they had, they housed all of his tour sets. So like the whole Last in Line, the Dragon, everything was there. The Egyptian.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
was-
awesome. I saw him on the Sacred Heart tour.
Yeah,
When he had the big like what it was supposed to be like a crystal ball,
yeah.
like displaying his image of his face in it and everything. And I just thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen as a teen. I was like, this is the coolest show I've ever been to.
No, it was. I saw the Sacred Heart too.
Yeah.
And I have photos of the Sphinx, their tour gear. They had all the backdrops. I mean, it wasn't all displayed, but it was throughout the place.
Yeah.
So they had these Egyptian panels that were like the size of like a sliding glass door, maybe not, at least 1.5 width the size of that and taller. And they had airbrushed Egyptian Sphinx heads on them. And they must have had like, I don't know, 30 to maybe 60 of these, and they connected all together for the Last in Line stage show. And then they had the Sphinx on each side. You can see it on the one video, but it's sort of hard to see some of the panels. But they had those just laying, like standing up there. So I was sort of blunt, and I asked Ronnie, could I have one? And he was like just shocked that it like threw him for a loop. He didn't know what to say.
Right.
And he went to the owner of that owned the building that they rented from and said, hey, can he have one of these? And the guy's like, yeah, I mean, they're yours.
They're yours. It's fine. They're yours anyway, right? Do you want them here or not?
Yeah, he gave me one of those.
That's amazing.
Signed it. I have it bolted in my garage with protective stuff over it.
Very
Totally cool. Like, has been all over the world from that tour. That just shows you what type of person he was, and totally took the time. I mean, he was a huge influence, a huge hero growing up, watching him, and one of the greatest singers. So to meet him and we pretty much saw him for like 3 to 4 months off and on until they finished that and went out on the road.
Right. Just amazing career, amazing singer. What he did for Sabbath to, re-energize them and bring them back almost from the dead, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then to go on to even, bigger things with his own band, and the new movie that's going to be coming out, Dreamers Never Die, too. I'm waiting to see that. That's going to be great.
Yeah, it was cool. He took us inside their room and he's like, hey, I want you guys to listen. He played us the new Angry Machines of what they had demoed. So we were just like blown away at that. So it was really, really cool. Then we went to see him on tour. Once they hit the road, they played a lot in LA and Hollywood and stuff. So that was great. After that time, well, what happened then is we were rehearsing our record there, and we asked Joshua if he would play lead on the record. So he said he would. So we finished the record, and we actually had a listening party at that studio, and we invited Ronnie, but he said he had to pick somebody up at the airport. I don't think he would have came anyways, because he wouldn't have wanted to be with, probably a crowd of people that he didn't really know.
Right. It's too much
like
of a mob scene for him, probably.
But Tracy G went, and Joshua and his one band member came. So it was really cool. We had friends and family, and we played the record and everything. And so that was our first album. And then we started writing. We really didn't still find the members. And we started writing some new stuff. And I was like, I wanted to do like more of a solo record type thing.
Now, you were still searching for what? For a singer and someone else?
Yeah, a singer and a bass player. So, but then my brother just sort of got tired of the scene, and he moved back to Western New York. I think it was like 98. So I really didn't want to, stay out there. We really weren't there to live the rest of our lives. We were there to try and become rock stars and make it. That was the whole purpose. It wasn't like I'm going to live and then here's, because it was expensive there.
Right.
in housing. It's outrageous. So I gave it like 2 years. I wanted to do another record. I did the Derailed record, and then in 2000, the summer of 2000, my wife and I moved back here to Western New York. So I accomplished that and everything, and had different guitar players I knew and that played on that record. So I did some cover songs, and then I wrote 3 original songs. My brother and I pretty much wrote all of our music for the first record. Both of us do lyrics and music. So then I even expanded that on my solo one, writing 3 songs. So that was cool. And then moved back here and was just trying to get established for years. And I auditioned for some local bands, but that didn't really happen. And then I put an ad up at Guitar Center, and that's when I got an answer from Dan Kaplan that's in Hair Nation.
Yeah, great guitarist, yeah.
So my brother, actually, they worked together in high school, and but I don't even remember him. I didn't work with them, so I didn't remember him, but he remembered us and my brother, and we have a sister too that she worked there too, so he remembered them. And so I was just like, I told my brother, do you know this Dan Kaplan? He's like, yeah, I worked with him at this place, so that was really cool. So I told him I had this whole record ready to go in the studio. So the Time Machine, I had all the songs. There was songs, The Vampire's Kiss, my brother and I, he wrote the lick, like when we were still in California after the first album. And it was just like the first measure. And I had a drum machine, and I added the drums to it. So it was probably 4 measures of that beginning of that song. So if you look at the back of the Time Machine, there's dates next to each song. And those dates mean either the lyrics or the music was written in that time.
Oh, okay.
So there's a song that my brother and I wrote, and we used to jam the whole music to Another Rock and Roll Night when we were like in 8th grade. So that whole thing was just this jam. We would jam, so I went back through old cassette tapes and took these songs and finished them, and then added them to this full-length record. And they really flow. You can't really tell that this was like written this long ago or this was written this time.
Right. I've seen and read a lot of musicians have done that. They've gone back into their archives of things they have done, maybe, change them up a little bit and, put them out on their new material and stuff. And it sounds great. Yeah. So you did put together a video for The Vampire's Kiss, and we're going to check that out. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we shot that in Niagara Falls at a old high school. We had a big stage production. I actually designed a miniature stage to show the guys of how the production would look. And then we filmed the outside in a cemetery, like right down the street. And then my daughter was the little character, the girl in the video. So it was a full 8-hour plus day. But it's probably one of our best videos. The storyline, I like doing a lot of theatrical stuff like Alice Cooper, King Diamond. So I like telling the story with the set too. So that really showcases, how we would be live with.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the video a lot. We're going to take a quick pause here and check it out. We'll play the video for The Vampire's Kiss, and we'll be right back here on Talking About Rock.
temptation lures you in. Don't invite them inside. Eternal life, you'll never die. Darkness, no light, you'll never slay. The vampire's kiss, so deadly. Blood
Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock with Scott Heidt. Just watched the video for the Vampire's Kiss. Excellent stuff. So you guys also went on to do a track with then Steve, Salem's Witches, right?
Yeah, the band, we were together about 3.5 years, and we did 4 total music videos for the Time Machine. And then my singer relocated to Florida. So at that time, I didn't want to just get somebody new just to fill in and play out, because his range was like incredible.
Yeah, he sounds great in that track. Yeah.
Yeah, to find somebody like that it's very hard.
Right.
So I already had Salem Witches and The Exorcist Effect written, and we did rehearse one time. I was showing them the guitars and stuff before he did move. So it basically, the bass player then departed, and then Dan and I have always been together. I mean, since the Time Machine. So he's really easy to write with. I mean, he doesn't really write, so I just show him, like, this is what I want for this guitar, these measures, this, and then we'll go into this and a bridge, and then usually I'll have him do a different rhythm for the guitar solo. So basically it was just him and I after that, and we started working. I started showing him the tunes. We finished the tunes. There was a year or so in delay in recording, just with things that happened. So when we were in the studio and I was finishing stuff, because I do all the vocals too. I do all the melodies, all the lyrics. So all the Time Machine, all the lyrics I wrote and all the melodies of, the songs. So for Salem Witches, I was in there with the engineer, and he's like, well, you should get a big singer to sing on this. Everybody's at home because of COVID. You'd be surprised that people would probably do it. So I was like, okay. So I had all the vocals. If you buy Salem Witches, there's 3 demos on there that I sing on, the last 3. Those are the demos I sent to Steve for the songs to learn. And when you listen to the song, it's pretty much spot on what he did with my vocal, as far as just the melody. It pretty much stayed the same. So I had a list. He was like, you should have like 20, 25 people. And there was people I thought of, and Steve was like always one of my favorite. I mean, I love the power metal, high range vocalist, the one that you can understand, it's clear. And I was a huge fan of Grim Reaper, everything. So there was a couple other guys I had in mind, and this wasn't, but I knew they wouldn't do it. If you can think of like some high 80s metal singers,
right,
you can probably see who I'm going for.
Right. I think a couple names come to mind. One of their names might start with Rob, maybe.
Yeah, well, he
or Tim could be a first name for one of them as well.
Yeah, there's other ones, but I actually, I like Steve's voice. Just, sometimes, I mean, Rob Halford is incredible, but there's no way someone of that, has the time, let alone that would probably do something like this.
Right.
So Steve was the first one I reached out to. So I emailed him last year, like in November, and said, hey, here's this project. I gave him the whole thing. I said, do you ever do this? Would you be interested in doing this? And he was like, yeah, I've done this for other bands. So I said, okay. So I was blown away. I sent him the tracks. And so I pretty much have been in communication since last November through text, pretty much weekly, off and on, like, hey, how are they coming? This. He would send me stuff. I'd tell him what to change. So that went on. And then the record came out August 3rd, just still this month. And I video called him on the 4th, and he was outside. He had just finished eating at a restaurant, and we had talked. I showed him the poster, the promo poster. I showed him the CD. I opened it, showed him it to him. the promo card and everything. And so he thought it was cool, everything. So we talked about 15, 20 minutes. And I sent him this package with a bunch of CDs, all the stuff, some of my old stuff, shirts. And so I sent that out on that Friday. So when I found out that he had passed, one of the things I wanted to know, did he get it? You know?
Right.
Because, you know, he saw it, but he didn't actually hold it. So that was one of the questions I had for Millie. I said, hey, did he get this before he passed? And she was like, yeah, the day before. So he probably got it Saturday. I don't know if they have mail Sunday, but Saturday. So he saw it, saw everything. So that was really cool. That meant a lot to me because that just sort of finalized everything that we had done. And so yeah, it was, you know, a lot of people have been asking if this is the last recording he did. And I asked Millie that, but she doesn't know. I mean, I know he did recording. They're working on the new Grim Reaper stuff.
Right. And they're probably going to release something, I would imagine.
I know they do. I definitely want to hear it. But, you know, as far as like an actual in your hand product you can buy, it might be. I don't know. Because it came out on the 3rd, from the 3rd till the 15th.
So we can say, at least at this point, as far as we know at this point, this is the last track from with
there's two
Steve
tracks
Grimmett on it.
he sang on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as that you can actually buy and hold in your hand and it's a finished final product, I would guess, but I know there's more recordings and definitely more stuff to be released by him. So I'm just humbled to be, I've learned so much more about Steve now that I didn't know. And for me, I'm just humbled and amazed I got to work with him and to get this project done and to get it out. I mean, he had a lot of difficulty with, you know, with losing his leg and everything with that. And I asked him, like, how is your health? You know,
Right.
And he told me that he was on medication. He was having heart complications, and it was something with the blood flow. So, but he was being monitored. So, and he was in good spirits and fine when I talked to him. So it was a total shock when I found out.
Right. Well, I'm so glad he was able to do this track with you here. And we're going to play it here real quick for everyone so they can check out here the track for Salem Witches here on Talking About Rock.
They make a mistake, driven by fear, not knowing how to make them so scared, keeping children inside, thinking they would be sacrificed. Fires burning at night, a witch is dancing in the moonlight. They say the witches are burned alive, ashes to ashes, from dust they will rise. A curse was said that night, The Salem witches were burned alive, ashes to ashes, from dust they will rise. A curse was said that night, death is coming unto thee. The spreading disease went through the town, no explanation, none could be found. Did they bring it unto thee? Started to question, were they wrong? They started dropping like flies, oh no! The Salem witches are burned alive. Ashes to ashes, from dust they will rise. A curse was set that night, that night. Death is coming unto thee. The Salem witches are burned alive. Ashes to ashes, from dust they will rise. A curse was set that night, that night. The Salem witches were burned alive. Ashes to ashes, from dust they will rise. A curse was set that night, that night. Death is coming unto thee. Salem witches. Salem witches. Salem witches.
Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock with Scott Heidt.
So yeah, go ahead.
So what else is planned in the works for you guys?
Well, these two songs were basically two tracks off of a new record, a complete record. So he did the Salem Witches track, and there's a track on this album called The Exorcist Effect. And there's 10 songs on the record, but it's demos, and then there's 5 different versions of The Exorcist Effect. So there is a video coming out for The Exorcist Effect. It's going to be a lyrical video with footage, but it's not going to have like the band or anything.
Okay.
And I'm working on that now. And then I do have footage of Steve singing Salem Witches in his studio, which we're going to release a full-length music video for that. And I had talked to Millie about it. I want to go everything through her before it's released so she knows. And she was like, yeah, thank you. She wants to carry on his legacy and anything that he did. And the Salem Witches video is going to be really, really cool. It'll be the full band and with Steve singing that song. So, I mean, he killed these tracks, really nailed them as far as, I mean, he still has it. His voice is incredible, his range and everything. So, so these two songs were basically sort of something I wanted to release like a single off of a new album, but it was actually more than that because it's 2 tracks plus the extras. So I have pretty much the whole next record for HEIDT written. The title already, and so we're going to work on that. There's other things that we have planned. So as far as playing out, it'll probably be later. There might be other singers I'm going to work with, and we would then play out with that. So, and then we would play old and new stuff. So that's sort of what we're looking at.
Gotcha. Well, keep us in the loop on what's happening.
Okay.
Definitely, and when the new video comes out, we'd love to check it out.
Yeah,
If folks want more information about you or your band, where should they go?
They can go to HEIDT.bandcamp.com. You can get all the merch there, the new album, old records, t-shirts, everything. And then we're on Facebook, facebook.com/HEIDTBand. And you can check out everything there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Scott, for being with us today. We really appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. Good talking.
All right. Yep. And if you folks out there want to know more about us, or you have comments or questions, please feel free to email us at talkingboutrock@gmail.com. Please like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, for this interview and our other videos, check us out on YouTube. And this will be also dropping to all the podcast streaming services. Scott, again, thank you for being with us tonight. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks. Take care.